Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining the live stream here. Wanted to talk to you guys about an exciting topic here today, something that a lot of people want to know about. And the topic is the top 10 agency building tips. Okay. Agency building tips. Everybody wants to build an agency, but it's really hard to do so and be profitable for several reasons. And I want to get into that. But first, if you like the content, hit the thumbs up button on the video and smash that subscribe button. If you like the content, that way you can get notified of all my videos. You can also set up the notifications, click the little bell there. All right, let's get to the video. So a lot of people want to build an agency, but the main thing is a lot of people, they don't want to help you build an agency unless they're making a big spread. So a lot of agents, they don't want to give up a bunch of comp when they're building. So a lot of times they kind of go and do it on their own, which is fine. It's kind of what I did. And these 10 tips, they're really going to help you because I've had to learn all of these the hard way. And so with these 10 tips, you're going to be able to be ahead of the pack and just blow it up. Okay. So tip number one, probably the most important, find a system. Okay. Now, whatever the system is, and I'm talking a sales system, whether it's knocking on doors, cold, whether it's cold calling, all right, whether it's buying leads, right? You need to find a system. And most importantly, I think the most important thing is to find a mentor, find somebody that can teach you the system. And I'm not one of those guys that says, hey, you got to buy leads. That's the only way you can make it. I know people that cold knock on doors for final expense and they make a good amount of money. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I heard of this guy that made over 100,000 his first year and all he did was knocking on doors. And if you're one of those people, good for you. But no matter what the system is, you got to have somebody that's going to teach you, right? And that's why I named my channel Final Expense Dojo, because that's the number one thing if you want to be successful in any type of sales, any type of business. Kind of like when you go into when you want to learn karate, you need somebody that's going to stand there and be like, all right, when you kick, do it this way. When you throw a punch, do it this way, and just kind of walk you through it and trial and error, help you get better and better and better. And then finally, once you're good enough, you can go out and compete and you can kick some butt and you can, right, you can do well versus other people, right? But without it, you are not going to be able to make any money. It's kind of like joining a karate competition, with no training. You've never even watched a karate video, anything. You join a karate tournament, you're going to get your butt whooped. There's no way you're going to succeed. And that's the reason why so many people fail in final expense, because they want to get in there and they just think, oh, well, I was good at, some other type of sales. Well, that really doesn't matter. This is completely different. Some things do translate, but you got to have somebody that teaches you exactly what you need to do. Okay. And the main thing with finding a system, whatever system it may be, you got to commit to it. Okay, commit to the system. Find the system, and no matter what, just develop the mindset that you're going to commit to it, and this is how you're going to do it. Too many people, they want to reinvent the wheel, and they're always looking for a better way, right? They're looking for a better lead source. They're looking for a better carrier. They're looking for how to sell it faster, how to get higher. And all that stuff is great. You don't want to be stagnant, but there has to be a balance, right? You got to find something that works, commit to it. And you know what? If you want to spend 10% of your time kind of trying out like a new lead source or a different system or whatever, fine. Spend 10% of your time doing that. Spend 10% of your time innovating, but you got to keep the 90% of your time to what works and what you've committed to. Does that make sense? Too many times people commit to a system, and then once they're pitched a shiny new object, a shiny new system, and then they jump from system to system, and they're never successful because it takes time. Once you get into a different system, it takes time to learn it and get the kinks out and everything like that. Okay. All right. So the next one here, when you are an agency, when you're trying to build an agency, the next tip here is to utilize, I'll just put use technology for automation. All right. What does that mean? Mainly what that means is I guess I'll just give you some examples, right? So like a lead order form. I was with a company and they have a lead order form that's, 5 pages long. It looks great. The only thing is, you got to email it to this person, the agent, and then they got to print it off, fill it out, and then scan it and then send it back to you, right? That's just a lot of different friction steps, right? But what you could do in that circumstance, and nobody is doing this, I started doing it and then I just stopped really using direct mail. But so if you're listening to this and your main business model is direct mail and you're a builder, please do this. People are going to be impressed. All right. Use DocuSign, or some type of automated document signing software that, DocuSign is like $50 a month, and you can just send an agent the link to the DocuSign. They can just do a couple clicks, sign it, fill out their information, and they get it back to you within seconds, right? So you got to try to automate everything that you can. Another example that I was doing was every time I had a meeting, guess what? I was recording the meeting and then I would post the video on my website and then kind of make a separate lesson for it. So then over time, I had a whole entire system that was built upon these video meetings that I had. And that way, I would take people out to ride along with me and things like that. But and then a lot of it, they could just learn by watching the videos, right? And then if someone was kind of if they were kind of going through a rut or something, you just say, hey, well, someone was going through that at such and such a time, check out this video, and you can send them a link and you can just build and build and build and build and build, right? So automate as much as you can with technology. Don't be one of those guys that just oh, I want to do it the old school way. You got to use technology to a certain extent. People are going to be impressed with it. All right. The next one, number 4, ask for feedback. Okay, this is horrible. All right, ask for feedback. And what I mean by that is ask your agents for feedback. Ask them, hey, what are some topics you'd like for us to cover in the meetings? What are some things you'd like to bring up with everybody? What are some contests you think that we should throw out there? Just different things like that. You should always be asking for feedback. That way you can get better because you're not going to have all the answers. There's been nobody on this planet Earth that has had all the answers. So you got to hire smart people so they can help you develop and continue your company on into greatness. All right. Number 5 would be know when to scale. So what that means is when you're starting out building, there's a lot of risks to it. Okay, a lot of people, they want to they're kind of self-righteous in a way, and I was this way too when I first started out, in a way that you want to give out the highest comp, right? All these companies that are giving low comp, they're scamming agents, right? That's kind of the mindset with most independent agents out there. And the reality is the reason why comp is lower in different companies is because they're not willing to take on as much risk. Okay, so when I first started, I was kind of self-righteous in a way that I put everybody 5 points under me, and that was awesome. If everybody comes out of the gate and writes 200,000 annual premium a year, but guess what? This is sales. There's no sales industry, no sales company in this world that has 100% hire ratio of hiring studs. It just doesn't happen. There's going to be people that make it. There's going to be people that quit right at the beginning for no reason because their wife talked them out of it. Just whatever. So not everyone's going to make it, and it's not even if you're the perfect trainer and you have all the answers and you have the best comp and you have the best lowest price leads and you have everything going on, you have the absolute best opportunity out there, that doesn't matter. People are still going to fail. This is sales, okay? And so when you start your agency, don't put people at 5 points below you. You got to make a little bit of a spread because people are going to write 2 policies and quit sometimes. And then the debt's going to come back. And you only made 5 points on that policy. So you made freaking $20 on both of those sales. One of them cancels because this guy didn't know what he was doing, for example, right? And now you have a $500 chargeback and you made $50 on it. That's the quickest way to go out of business. Okay. And then going back to the subject here, knowing when to scale, if you have people on a little bit of a spread, you want at least 20 points, I would say. And that's just because it lowers your chargeback risk. And that's going to happen. And guess what? When someone fails, they're not thinking about, paying you back, paying the insurance company back the commissions, the advance. Guess what? They're worried about paying their next month's rent. They're worried about paying their car insurance. They're paying their car payment. And so most of the time, they're not going to come into this industry because they're making $1 million and they want to learn how to make another million. They're coming to this industry because they're kind of low on funds. They're broke and they want to find a system that works, and that's fine. But know that going in, and even if they're good people, a lot of times they're not going to be able to afford to pay that money back. Okay, that's the reality of it. I don't care who it is. They can't afford it. They're not going to pay it. Okay. And if you have a low spread, it just doesn't work out. So you need at least 20 points so that when people quit, you made a little bit from their production, and then they're not going to pay. Most of the time they're not going to pay the debt roll up, and so you're just going to take a hit on that, and that way you don't go out of business. Okay. But knowing when to scale, going back to that, you have to hire just a small amount of agents that are good agents from the start and have a base. Too many people, they want to, start an agency and then make $1 million tomorrow. Doesn't work like that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's the best company in the world, the best leads in the world, doesn't matter. Okay. Real world, the reality of it is it takes time to build something great. Okay. So you want to start small. You want to get a small group of agents, 5 or 10 agents. And then once you have those agents, you want to spend a lot of your time supporting them, a lot of your time training them, everything like that. And once you have 10 good solid agents that are producing consistently, that are buying leads consistently, whatever your system is, they have to be doing it consistently. And once you're at that point, then you can scale. Then you can say, all right, let's hire 50 agents next week. Let's hire 20 agents next week. Whatever it may be, you first have to have your core group of agents before you scale. Because if you just start out your agency and then you hire 100 people in your first month, it's just a recipe for disaster. Trust me. Okay. And number 6, I kind of went over it a little bit. Number 6 is don't try to have the best compensation. Okay. Number 6, basically I'll just summarize it. You don't need to have the best everything. Okay. You don't have to have the lowest cost leads. You don't have to have the highest comp in the industry. Okay. Now, if you do, I mean, that's obviously great, but trust me, I mean, I have videos on YouTube where I'm offering 128% first year commission. Who else is doing that? Those are extremely high comp. And the leads that we offer, I mean, they're some of the lowest cost direct mail leads that have life insurance in the first line. I mean, you would think that I would have people freaking driving out to my office and beating down my door begging to join my agency. But guess what? The fact of the matter is comp and leads, and leads is important, but comp and the price of leads, I guess I'll say, that's not the most important thing. Okay. Someone can have 128% commission and then not sell anything. And someone can have a 25% commission, maybe work in a call center and sell 10 apps a day and make more than the person that has 128. See, there's different aspects to this business. It's not all about, lead cost and comp. Okay. So what you want to focus on having the best training and support. Okay, the best camaraderie, if however you say that, right? You want to make a big enough spread. You want to be fair with the commission, but also you want to make a little bit of money by doing it. I know that's so evil, right? You got to make money, and if that means um, not having the bare bones lowest cost leads, then so be it. You would rather have a fair comp that's not the highest and a fair cost lead, and then be able to make a decent override, and then from there you can reinvest. And how many agents can you help by doing that? You're going to make more money off the overrides, then you can reinvest into marketing to get more agents. And see, you got to have the mindset that you want to help people, you want to help agents. That's the main thing. Training them and getting them to sell a lot of insurance, that's the main thing. Okay, people are selling a lot of insurance. It doesn't matter what the comp is. What matters at the end of the day is deposits in your bank account. Okay, people want a company, a system to where they can start making steady money fast, bottom line. And it has to be duplicatable. Okay, when you say duplicatable, what that means is you got to have a certain presentation that you use, that you're going to teach everybody to use, right? The same framework. You got to have the same answers to rebuttals. You got to have the same type of just everything. It really goes deep into it. People think that a system is just like leads. It's not that. It's everything. Everything that you do in the home, the way that you get referrals, the way that you respond to people that want to cancel. I mean, just every little thing about the business, that is a system. Okay, and once you get agents to understand that that's really what the system is, and that's what they're plugging into, they're really going to want to commit to it in a deeper level. Versus if you just if you don't tell people anything otherwise, they're going to think the leads are the system, and they're going to go in there in the home and just run around like a chicken with their head cut off, not know what to do, and just they're going to be blowing sales left and right. And they're going to come at you and be like, hey, why aren't I getting sales? You said that I would close X amount of sales for X amount of leads. Why'd you lie? And then if you're like me, you're going to go out there and watch them in a couple presentations, and you're going to know immediately that they didn't plug into the system. That's why they're not succeeding. So you got to communicate that, right? Don't be all things to all people. All right. Summarize that real quick. Number 6, to summarize, don't be all things to all people. Figure out a compensation level, a lead cost, and all those details in a way that you can make money that's fair, and then that you can grow the business. Okay. Because people are not going to just knock down your door if you have the best comp and the best leads and the best cost leads. Trust me. All right. Number 7, I was going into there. Number 7 is communicate. Okay. What does that mean? What I mean specifically. So when you hire agents, you want to communicate exactly what you expect as the mentor. Okay. And you want to communicate exactly what kind of results they should be able to get, at the first couple months. And then once they're kind of dialed into it, the results that they can have, once they've mastered it, right? And I went to I had a sheet of paper when I would recruit face-to-face agents. I had a sheet of paper that had like 10 different things, and I would tell them, hey, before they would even come on, I would say, hey, this is what you need to do to be successful. Number 1, memorize the presentation word for word before you go out there and try to sell off leads. Number 2, this is just examples. You got to work 50 to 60 hours a week in the first 90 days to be able to learn the system and be successful. Number 3, you got to ride along with me minimum 2 days, right? Number 4, you got to come to all of our meetings in the first 90 days. And just different things like that. And some people might say, oh my gosh, you're going to make people do all that? No, I didn't make people do anything. But I would tell them, hey, you are self-employed. This is what you got to do to be successful. If you don't do this, guess what? You're not going to make it. and I'm not going to get up and work for you and answer my phone when you need help and everything like that if you're not doing all these things, because you're just going to be set up for failure, right? And so I communicated that. Other agency builders, what I've seen is they don't communicate anything like that because they want to recruit the masses and they want to make it sound like it's easy, right? And so they basically say, yeah, you got to work hard, you got to work the leads, blah blah blah, sign people up, and then once people don't follow their system and once people don't work hard and things like that, they basically just cut them off, right? And then agents are confused. Well, why did you cut me off? This guy's a scammer, blah blah blah. And it's because the builder's got to communicate exactly. And you know what? If people hear what it takes to be successful, and they think it's a negative, good. You just didn't waste a bunch of times on a deadbeat. Okay. So communicate exactly what you expect. And you know what? Even if you have to come out with an agency agreement, people would rather you have an in writing agency agreement than just kind of, you know, promising stuff over the phone, promising stuff that you really can't do. And then, once someone goes to leave, you're kind of bait and switching them. I had a company do that to me. I won't name any names. I won't name when they did it to me, but they promised me the world. They didn't execute. And when I went to leave, they were like, "Oh, by the way, you got to do this, this, and this before we release you." And I was like, "Hold on, that's not what you said." And then they just deny everything. And it would have been so much better off if they would have just communicated. And it would have been some negatives, right? But at least I would know exactly what they expect, and then I could make a decision based upon all the information. So make sure you communicate. Don't bait and switch. Don't just try to tell only the good things, to get the most people in there. It's not going to work. All right. Number 8 would be uh, basically you got to find the right people. Once you find the right people, you can kind of build from there, and you'll explode from there, right? Number 9 would be to start local. Okay. A lot of people, let's put local first. A lot of people I find, when they start an agency, they want to go nationwide, immediately. And here's the fact of the reality. Like I was talking about with the dojo, I named my training site finalexpensedojo.com. And the reason is because I'm really big on training, and I think that's the main deciding factor of someone being successful, right? Whether they have access to the right training and things like that. And I just don't think that the success rate for agents, being trained, just like kind of over the phone or with videos and stuff like that, the success rate isn't as high as if you had someone actually go out with you and show you the ropes, and then, watch you present and kind of mentor you from there and things like that. I don't think it's probably 50% what it is if you just build a national agency, which is fine. But going back to that last thing I was talking about, where you want to start small and get a foundation first before you scale. When you do that, you want to do local first, right? And maybe you're not in a high populated area, so you can't really get that many leads. That's fine. Maybe your area is probably, you can get 3 agents max, on 20 leads a week. Well, awesome. Okay, you yourself are going to be producing, and then get those other 2 agents that are going to be producing on a consistent basis, and then expand from there. Recruit agents 2 hours away, and then once you maxed out that territory, recruit agents 4 hours away, and then you can recruit agents in just the states that are just the next state over, and so on and so forth. And then over time, once you've built up that 5 to 10 agent base, then you can go nationally. Okay, because people just they're not going to stick if you try to recruit people nationally first. Okay, it's so much harder for people to get it. You don't know if they're going to be full time or not. Everyone's going to tell you they're going to do it full time. Fact of the matter is, very few will. Everyone's going to try to do it part time. So their success rate is going to be even lower, and you're going to go out and spend a bunch of time recruiting people nationally, spend a bunch of time on the phone with them to kind of train them and get them built up before the leads come in. And then guess what? They're going to go out there, work 10 hours, and then they're going to wonder why they're not making sales, and you have no idea what they're doing. You can't go out with them and kind of check out their presentation, anything like that. And they're kind of just dead in the water. So just do local first. All right. Number 10 is very important. Number 10 will reduce your risk tremendously when building an agency. And it's not going to be popular from hindsight. Okay. But I'm telling you, this is so important. The pros will do this and the novices won't. And you will have so much risk and you will be out of business if you don't do this. I promise you. Okay. Number 10 is part of your system. Okay. Is carriers. Carrier selection is important, but use 2 to 3 carriers max. I told you it wasn't going to be popular. Okay. And I'll tell you why. So when you're independent, what agents are going to do when they're starting out, they're not going to start out with $100,000 in the bank. They're not going to start off with $10,000 in the bank. Most people, they're kind of working check to check. Maybe they just left their last job, whatever. They need to make money now and they got bills to pay. Okay. A lot of people have families, things like that. And so what happens, and they have good intentions. I'm not the type of guy that thinks that people are just out to rip you off, and I'm the type of guy that believes that most people are good people. They have good intentions, but even though they have good intentions, it doesn't always work out that way in the most favorable way. Okay, and so what happens is agents, a lot of agencies, they'll be like, yeah, we got 15 carriers. So they sign up with all 15 carriers. They might start producing with a handful of their favorite ones, and then what happens is they get a chargeback. Okay. And then what happens if you got to make your car payment next week and you got a $600 chargeback, you're not going to sell a policy with that carrier immediately. You're going to sell it with another carrier so you can get paid and then pay your car payment, right? Again, good people with good intentions. But and then what happens over time if they're not doing enough volume, okay, is they get a charge back with carrier number 2, carrier number 3. And what they do is agents, they just stop producing with those carriers that they have chargebacks with. And pretty soon they're in what they call chargeback hell. And they owe 5 different carriers money, and that this carrier this agent just isn't going to get themselves out of that hole. And it sucks because if you would have just used 2 to 3 carriers, they wouldn't be in that situation. Okay, because they would just sell another policy with a carrier that they had a chargeback with, and that would pay it off, right? So that's why I recommend use only 2 to 3 carriers if you're going to be a builder. Okay. Okay. And so if you're going to use two to 3 carriers, one of them has to be a guaranteed issue. Okay. I recommend AIG over Gerber. Everybody's using AIG that I know of, basically. Gerber has real quick, just Gerber's chargeback rules are just way worse than AIG's without going into deep detail. And also AIG has higher comp. And then their electronic application is way easier to use than Gerber's. Gerber's is kind of, it's not hard, but it's just a lot easier with AIG. And also AIG's rates are better. And one thing I like about AIG that most people don't talk about is they don't try to sell direct to consumer with final expense like Gerber does. Gerber, they send a lot of seniors. They have a huge base of business where they sell through the mail. And so if you sign someone up with Gerber, a lot of times they're going to be like, well, why, you know what, I don't want to do this right now. I get Gerber stuff in the mail all the time. I'm just going to wait for a few months until I get something paid off, and then I'll just sign up through the mail. People are going to think that way, and your persistency is going to be lower. Mine was anyway. So use AIG with guaranteed issue. So that's for people that are really, really sick. Okay. And then you're going to need a carrier that's going to be standard, which people are kind of middle of the road health. standard, and then you're going to need a carrier for preferred. People that are in really good health, and um, but all of these, what I would recommend if you're going to build an agency, all of them have to have an automated electronic or some kind of paperless process. Okay, reasons because you don't want your system to be as simple as possible, including writing up the paperwork and everything like that. You want it to be paperless. That way, it's so easy that anybody can do it. Okay. If you use a carrier that only allows paper applications, you're going to have agents that are too lazy to go back out there and get the right signature. They're just not going to fill it out correctly, and it's just you're going to be missing overrides. They're going to miss some sales because they can't get in contact with the person. Just whatever. It's trust me, it'll happen a lot more than you'd think. So use a carrier that has either an e-app that's instant decision, or uses a telephone application that's completely paperless or mostly paperless. Okay. And then also they gotta pay on issue, okay, instead of paying on draft. Okay. Especially if you have a system that's people are buying leads. Okay. If that's the case, they're gonna want to, if they're paying $500 a week, they're going to want to make a sale and then get paid, in a couple days versus, waiting until next month. Just the cash flow would suck in that circumstance. Okay, so they got to pay on issue. So what would I recommend? Here's what I recommend. Americo Eagle Premier for preferred. Um, Phenomenal product. It's all e-app. There's no telephone application required. And I have a video on YouTube where I do the e-app, a mock e-app in under 5 minutes. It's so easy. People are so impressed, and it comes with a bunch of benefits. Okay, and the underwriting is actually really, really loose. To give you an example, a lot of people say that Transamerica has the loosest underwriting and final expense. Well, I've had 2 to 3 people get graded with Transamerica. They couldn't get level, and I went back and wrote them up with Eagle Premier, and they got level. So if that tells you anything, the underwriting is just super loose. This is the hidden gem of the industry. Standard, I would say Royal Neighbors of America. Okay. Now, and so with these two carriers, and their process, by the way, is a telephone application. It's about 20 minutes, but their underwriting is just like tremendous. Okay. Super, super good. They take neuropathy, first day coverage, just a lot of different stuff. So with these two carriers, they're both loose in underwriting, but in the areas that Eagle Premier is kind of strict, guess what? RNA is loose, and vice versa. So really, when I was really building my face-to-face team, I would literally train agents. I wouldn't even get into the underwriting. I would say, hey, sign everybody up, quote everybody with Eagle Premier. Okay, halfway through the e-app, it comes back and says if they can't get it. Okay, so within 2 or 3 minutes of signing someone up, you're going to know if they can't qualify for Eagle Premier. And then it's very easy. If they can't qualify for Eagle Premier, 9 times out of 10, they just do the telephone application with RNA and they get approved. And guess what? If they can't get qualified with RNA, what I'd tell them is just sign them up with AIG. And it was such a simple process. I wouldn't get into, check their medications, send their medications to me. I wouldn't get into training them on the different medical conditions. I mean, over time they would learn it, right? But just training somebody on a simple system and getting them just to make money as fast as possible and have them learn how to sell instead of learning all these different moving parts. Doing it this way was just, phenomenal. Just don't worry about anything. Worry about signing up the client. If they can't get Eagle Premier, sell them RNA. If they can't get RNA level, sell them AIG guaranteed issue with the e-app. It's just flawless. Okay. And what's nice is they would do enough business with each carrier because like I said, Eagle Premier, the weaknesses of Eagle Premier are kind of the strengths of Royal Neighbors and vice versa. And so they put enough business with all three carriers that, they've never come into chargeback hell. They would need to use all three carriers. So even if they had a couple chargebacks with Americo, they wouldn't be able to use another carrier. They would have to use Americo. So, they wouldn't, the chance of you having debt roll up would be a lot lower. Okay. And I guess the bonus one. All right. A bonus one here would be to do bonus. All right. Do what you say you're going to do. You would think that everybody does that. It's not true. Okay. Most, even the good guys that have a great reputation, guess what? Recruiters are still salesmen. Okay. And guess what? They're going to promise you things that they can't do. And then, you know what? You got to hold people accountable. And even if I'm not saying that like this just for other people, even for me. So let's say after you watch this video, you call my 1-800 number and you say, hey, I want to sign up with your agency. I want to buy $1,000 worth of leads right now. Okay, great. Guess what? If I promise you anything, if I promise you I'm going to go take you on a ride along for 2 days worth of ride alongs, if I tell you that we're going to have a local meeting, once a week on Wednesdays. If I tell you that if you're struggling, I promise to go back out with you, take time out of my personal production and see what you're doing wrong. That way I can help you. Just those are just examples. But if I promise those things, okay, send me an email and say, hey, Mike, I just wanted you to send me an email confirming the things that you promised me. Okay, if someone is going to really tell the truth and do what they say they're going to do, they're going to take that with open arms and they're going to respect that. Because what did Theodore Roosevelt say? He said, trust but verify. Remember that. Trust but verify. Okay. And so if anybody ever promises you anything, they say they're going to do something, whatever, every little detail, it sucks that we have to be this way, but that's just the reality. If someone promises you something over the phone, guess what? You got to make sure you have it in writing. Okay. And if they're going to get offended and if they're going to try to convince you, oh, well, you just got to trust me if we're going to do business, they're going to try to lie to you. They're not telling the truth in some way, I promise you. But if they're really an honest person and they really want to do what they say they're going to do, guess what? They have no problem sending you an email, putting everything in writing. And what does that do? That holds them accountable, because you can come back and you can say, hey, Mike, I'm just going to use myself as an example. Hey, Mike, you said you're going to take me on a ride along before my leads come in. You haven't done that yet. When can we schedule that? Right? And you would forward the email that I put in writing, right? Maybe I've just been busy or whatever, right? And that's going to hold me accountable, because if I don't do it and you have it in writing, you're going to have ammunition to go and talk bad about me. And nobody wants that. Okay? But if you don't have it in writing, if you don't have it in writing and someone promised you something, you don't have anything. I'll just tell it to you like that. Don't trust a gentleman's agreement. Okay? Doesn't work. You'll always get screwed. There's always, there's human errors, right? And then also, good people with good intentions make mistakes, okay? And sometimes they can't fulfill things that they promise because they have, just for whatever reason. But if you have it in writing, you're going to hold them accountable and they're going to make sure that they're going to do it, okay? I know this sounds redundant, and a lot of these things you're going to say, oh, well, you know what? I want to use 5 different carriers because I want to make sure I get the client the lowest price possible, for example. Or you're going to say, you know what, I want to trust people that I do business with. I'm not going to listen to that. You know what? It's okay if you do that, but just know I'm just giving you the surefire way to make sure that you're successful as a builder. Okay. You don't want to go into business and be like, all right, I'm going to have all these moving parts and Some things that you do, like let's say adding a bunch of carriers, can you be successful doing that? Yes, but it's just going to lower the chances of your agents and yourself being successful long term. So you want to build a business plan that that has the least amount of holes in it. Okay, that way you can just 100% make sure that you're successful and that your agents are successful. Again, what people are looking for is a system that they can start making money fast and make money consistently. Bottom line, it doesn't matter if it's freaking 45% comp. There's a company out there that offers 45% comp and free leads. And guess what? They're one of the largest IMOs in the nation. Am I going to go out there and make you know, recruit to a system like that? No. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there that they don't want to, go through everything where they have to spend $500 a week on leads or $200 a week on leads. They'd rather get high quality leads for free and then get a lower comp. That way there's no risk on them. There's people out there that want that. And guess what? There's agents that will make more money on that system than other agents will make on 128% comp, paying full price for the leads. And that's the fact of the matter. Why? Because that company that's running the 45% commission with free leads, they might have a better training platform than other companies that have, 128% commission and you pay full price for the leads. Just for example, okay? People want a way that they can make money fast and steady money. That's it. Don't worry about comp. Don't worry about having the lowest price leads. All that is binary. Help people make money, and that's it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope it wasn't too redundant. If you like the content, again, smash that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. All right. And you know what? Leave a comment in the video at the bottom. If you have another tip that you think that maybe I missed, go ahead and put it down in the comments. That way other people can benefit for some things that you might have gone through and some things that you might have figured out that maybe I haven't yet. I don't have all the answers. All right. Also, if you have any questions about what I was talking about, go ahead. You can leave a comment as well. I respond to all comments and I'll do my best to give you the information. All right. Appreciate you watching the whole entire video. I'll see you next time.